Hi everyone, and welcome to Electric Growers Advanced Security System Targeting Strategy presentation. I'm Crochet Ibanez and I lead a team of data scientists that work through this project together with Michelle Tran for the last few weeks to come up with a really good targeting strategy that will help electric growers in pushing the advanced security system product into the market. Right. So again, welcome and let's get started. Okay. So I have here just an outline of the items that I will be covering for this presentation. So first, I have the executive summary, the methodology, and approach that we use in order for us to arrive with our recommended targeting strategy, and also a brief overview of the insights and recommendations that we have for the targeting strategy. And the last or the second part of the presentation is about the in-depth look about the three sections or the three main questions basically that we will be answering with this targeting strategy, right? So for the first one, we have who are the target customer. Second one is where are the target customer, and the last one is how are we leveraging the information that we got from those two in order for us to create a targeting strategy for electric growers advanced security system product. Okay, so for the executive summary, electric growers is interested in moving into advanced security device and service market. The company needs to know who are the target customer, how should we reach and sell to those customer, and are the where are those customers. Using the available data using the available data from survey segment, excuse me, city population by segment and city-wise demographic, we created an in-depth analysis to help guide electric growers in entering the new market by providing a detailed targeting strategy. Okay, so here is the methodology that we use, or basically the process that we go through from the data to the targeting strategy, right? And there are four parts in this process. So first part, of course, is the data that we use, that we receive from Michelle's team, and next one is the question that we raise based from our interest about the actual product that we want to sell and to market, and also the information about the data sets itself. And so we form different questions around that, and after that we do different processing like cleaning, merging, performing statistical tests, and after that we have the targeting strategy. We basically just answer the question that we raised in this part of the process, right? So for the targeting strategy, we'll just answer the question that we actually just raised here, and for the process, that is just a way to get those answers from the question, from the data. Sorry. So that's it. That's the methodology and approach that we used for this project. Okay, so summary of the results. So here is the summary of the insights and the recommendation for the targeting strategy. So for the first one, for the insight, we have three customer segments that we need to target. We have four categories from survey variable that will allow us to reach and better serve the customer segments main survey variables. And these 9 customer segments main survey variables are the the specific customer segment that we will be targeting. In each of those will have a specific targeting strategy that will be tailored for them. Okay. The next one is about the how. So these are 4 custom and detailed targeting strategy, which I mentioned just previously, that we will be use or apply rather to reach the customer segment main survey variable combination. And the last one is 3 US states where there's a high demographic demand and a high concentration of top 3 customer segment. So these insights will be basically the foundation of our targeting strategy, right? And they will be using in the recommendation part. So for the recommendation, this is our recommendation of how should we execute the targeting strategy based on the information that we just have here, right? So for the recommendation, first we need to go to each of the top cities that we just identified. So this is the where, and for each of the city, identify the top 3 customer segment for each of those cities. So this is the who part. So the third one is for each of the customer segment, we will look at the 3 main survey variables and 4 categories of other survey variables that has a strong relationship with the main survey variables. So this is the what part. So another layer of information about our customer. And these 4 categories of survey variable, this information will allow us to know our customer well and how to reach and how to sell to this customer. So this is the how part. So basically, the recommendation is just we need to start with the where, who, what, and how. Okay, so that's the summary of the results. It's the insight and the recommendation that we have. Okay, so now let's go to the in-depth analysis part. So again, the 3 questions that we will be answering for this presentation is, the first one is the who or the target customer. The next one is where are the target customer? And the last one is how are we going to leverage the answer to the first 2 questions in order for us to create the targeting strategy that we want, right? So for the question who are the target customer, the methodology that we used is, of course, the first one is using the available data. We have the population by segment and city by population by segment data set. Using those 2 data sets, we get the penetration of each of the customer segment per survey variable. So the penetration of each customer segment per each survey variable, which are actually just here. We get the average penetration for each of the customer segments, average penetration, and also we leveraged the main survey variable, which is here, to get other information about survey variable to have a more specific customer profile. Alright, so basically what we just did is we have this main survey variable, this 5. We also have the calculated fields or derived features from main survey variables. We use that to calculate this average penetration. Okay, using this main survey variable, what I just mentioned in this part is I ex we explored other survey variables that has strong relationship with these five main survey variables. And then using the penetration for each of the customer segment and survey variable, we can use that number to prioritize, just to pick a three per each of the customer segment, so that we will have a combination of customer segment and survey variable. And together, given that we have three here, and we will just pick top three for each of the customer segment, we will have nine possible combination of customer segments, main survey variable, and each of those combination will have a targeting strategy for each of them. Because the idea here is we want to be more specific in each of the customer segment. So, for example, here we have the well-heeled affluent. We want to target the I those that willing to buy the security devices that are under well-heeled affluent. And that strategy might be differ, or that targeting strategy that might be or we might require to create a custom targeting strategy for each of this one. Right? So for example, we are targeting this well-heeled affluent that owns already a burglar alarm. That might be a different strategy if we will be targeting this one, those that are willing to buy a security devices. So the reason we have that nine possible combination of customer segment and survey variable is to have that, to further create a much specific customer segment. So that's the idea behind that. So the result is, for this part, is we identified top three customer segment using the five main survey variables. And other insight is we have four categories from survey variable that has a high, or rather strong relationship with the main survey variable. This will allow us to further narrow down who are the target customer. And that is I think the good thing here, right? So we will not just stop with the customer segment that is a bit a bit huge. We want to be narrow it down using the information that is available to us. Okay. Okay, so at this point you might be asking, how are we going to leverage the information that we have for the top three customer segments into an actionable targeting strategy? And I have an example here. So specifically for well-heeled affluent that would like to buy a security devices. So the question is, how are we going to use the information to target this kind of to target this customer segment? So the answer is, in terms of the strategy, we first need to, of course, look at the customer segment. And here we find the well-heeled affluent. And then under well-heeled affluent, we will look at the main survey variable under that. And this is just starting from the customer segment up to the other information related to that. So under well-heeled affluent, we find that those that will buy the security devices is the top one in terms of main survey variable under this customer segment. Okay. So now we have a combination of well-heeled affluent, that would like to buy security devices. And the next level of information is that four categories that I just mentioned in the previous slide. So from here, we go from well-heeled affluent that would like to buy security devices. And these are the four categories that will help us narrow down this I will buy the security devices. And using these four categories, we can identify other survey variable that has a strong relationship with I would like to buy security devices. And what we just found is those well-heeled affluent that would like to buy security devices, they are also the ones that has a 250K household income or more, and also has a owned home that has a value of 500K. So using this information, we can create this sample strategy that I have actually here. So the strategy for this one, in order for us to reach this market, well-hit affluent, that would like to buy security devices, we need to find the zip code or area where there's a high number of homes, approximately greater than 500K, and create targeted ads for that location. So for this, I would like to buy security devices. The only information that is available to us is this two, right? We don't have information about this, where should we sell or how we're going to reach them. But if you look at in the appendix part, if you look at the other combination of customer segment and main survey variable, most of them have an information about this this part, the survey variable that has a strong relationship with. And the more information that we have about the about about these four categories, our strategy will become more specific because we are not limited with the information, unlike for this one. But for this one, this is already a really good strategy if we are aiming to reach this market, well-held affluent, and I will buy security devices. Okay. Okay, so for the next slide, this is just a supporting evidence and how did we identify the survey variable that has a strong relationship with those that would like to buy security devices under well-heeled affluent. And here we just created a scatter plot to show the relationship or the strength of the relationship of household income with household income of greater than or equal to 250K and value of own home of greater than 500K. So we just plotted them with those that would like to buy security devices. Okay. Okay, now we're done with identifying the target customer. So now let's go in identifying where are the target customer. Okay, so for this approach, or the approach that we use for this one, is asking question where are the target customer. It's basically just asking where are the state that has high demand for security system and high concentration of customer segments. So those two, we are measuring the high demand for security system and high concentration of customer segments. So remember, customer segments is already identified earlier. So we will use that information here. So the methodology is we have two metrics. We have customer segment score, which just quantifying the demand in terms of who are the specific market that has that has potential to buy the security system product. And we also have the city-wise demographic score. And this metric just quantifying the demand in terms of where. So where are the area where the need for security system product is high. Using these two metrics here, customer segment score and city-wise demographic, we come up with the attractiveness or opportunity score, which is a metric that we can that measures the demand and also the demand in terms of the customer segments and also the demand in terms of the demographic. So the output here is we just identify the top 3 cities, US top 3 city that we need to prioritize in reaching out to. That's it. So those are the New York, New York City, Brooklyn, and Houston. Okay. So the third part of the in-depth analysis is basically how are we going to penetrate the market? So that's basically just a question. So in other words, how are we going to use the previous information about who are the customer and where are the customer? How are we going to use those two information for us to create a recommended targeting strategy? Okay. Our recommendation is we need to start with the top city first. Top 3 cities. So here in the first city, start with the highest customer segment. So here, this table here of city by customer segment, we are just measuring here the distribution of customer segment for state city, and we need to look at the first city and look at which of the customer segment has the highest penetration. So here the highest one is the well-heeled affluent. So then under the first customer segment, it will have a 3 customer segment mean survey variable combination. So remember from the previous slide that we have 3 mean survey variable per customer segment, right? And each of these will have a targeting strategy that we need to execute in that city. Okay, as simple as that. So I have here an example. So we need to execute the following strategy for well-heeled affluent in New York City, New York. So here are the 3 customer segment main survey variable combination that we have. So we have the well-heeled affluent that will buy security devices, those that are willing to pay more for quality electronics, and those that has a burglar alarm. So if you want to see the particular targeting strategy for each of these one, because the only one that I just presented is this one, though these are available in the appendix part. So each possible combination has its own targeting strategy. And for New York City, we just basically applying this applying this specific targeting strategy for each of the list here. So the idea here is we have a particular targeting strategy for this one, for those that willing to buy security devices, another strategy for those that are willing to pay more for quality electronics, and another strategy for those that owns a burglar alarm, right? So that's it. So we go the from the identified state to the identified customer segments up to the survey variable, which will lead us to other survey variable that has a strong relationship with with this main survey variable, and that will lead us to a targeting strategy that is specific for them. Okay. So in summary, again, the recommendation is we need to start with where, then who, what, and how. So that's it. So that's basically the our our recommended targeting strategy, right? So starting from the state, from the identified customer segment to the main survey variable, to the four categories of supporting survey variable, and from there you can already build the targeting strategy, which is the last part, which is the how part. Okay, that's it. So that concludes our presentation the about the targeting strategy that we just developed for electric growers advanced security system. So thank you, and let me know if you have any question.